Welcome in, Chiefs Kingdom, to Cheifs Latest, your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs in 15 minutes or less. It is your host, Calvin Silvers. Happy Thursday. Got some football on tonight, and the good thing is we don't have to stress. We can kick our feet up, watch our NFC counterparts, and just enjoy the night. But Sunday will be a different story, of course. We know Jalen Carter will be allowed to play, but not only that, we got some updates. Two offensive weapons will be out. We're going to dive into it all, but before we do, you know the drill. It does not matter what platform you are listening on. Just please take one moment, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications because we have daily, that's right, daily videos here at Cheifs Latest Monday through Friday. After Sunday, it's week 3 already. This season's just going to keep picking up. It's going to keep steamrolling. You're not going to want to miss any of the news, rumors, or actions regarding this team. So please hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications as it not only helps me and the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. Now, it's been talked about week after week. It's no surprise that the Chiefs wide receiver room is hanging on by a thread. And we have to try to stay afloat at least until week 7 when we get Rashee Rice back. But it's been hard to do that because your top 2 wide receivers have been out. And then now you get updates from Andy Reid finally that it doesn't get better for that room, as not only Xavier Worthy will still be out, but Jalen Royals is still going to be sidelined. So this has been a mixed bag of updates. Worthy's dislocated right shoulder from week 1's loss, of course, to the Los Angeles Chargers. Royals has that nagging knee tendonitis. Those are the culprits of why these two are out. And again, Andy Reid's been very vague about what's been going on or how serious it is or the timetable even of these injuries. We know Worthy's MRI was going to be delayed a little bit. They were all the way in Brazil, so that flight was going to take a while. Finally, we're getting something more than just day-to-day. Reid has ruled out surgery, which means there's probably no IR stay. So that means the Chiefs are banking on a, return sooner rather than later for Worthy. So pretty decent news out of that front. But Royals, meanwhile, he's stuck on the sideline for the foreseeable future. He's missing a golden chance, a golden opportunity right now to debut his skill set, to build chemistry with Patrick Mahomes while Rice is out and while Worthy's out right now. It's frustrating to see a rookie with, as people are saying within the organization, has Rashee Rice-like upside, unable to get out there and prove that, or unable to get out there and build some chemistry. The lack of clarity is maddening, but I understand it. Of course, you don't want other teams to know how serious or unserious something is. But with both our top targets out, whether it's injury or being suspended, this offense is in a bind. Beach might have to search for a depth piece, which we've been talking about, and we're going to talk about another one here in a second. But let's stick on this topic. If you look at Xavier Worthy last year, just in the postseason, 19 catches, 287 yards, 3 touchdowns. Led all Chiefs receivers. Mahomes was really relying on him down the stretch, especially week 11 all the way to the Super Bowl. Worthy's injury, it leaves a void as the primary target with Rice suspended. We know that Worthy was being looked upon down the stretch last season. So now the number 1 target, Rice, is out. That meant that Worthy was your number 2, and now he's out. This is not a road of success for any quarterback with your 2 wide receivers out, 2 top wide receivers out. And not only that, you don't have an existing run game. It's non-existent. You're one-dimensional. The Chiefs have no run game right now. Defenses know what to do. Royals tendonitis stalls his chance to earn some snaps, prove he's a long-term fit because Andy Reid could get some game-like evaluation. Of course, you're not going to know right away in one season if probably not going to know in one season if he's for sure a long-term fit, but you'd get at least a good head start there if you could just see him out there in some game-like settings, let him build some chemistry with Mahomes. Of course, those two can work in the offseason, but let's get that chemistry going in game-like setting. And if he does have that Rice-like skill, that would have easily filled this gap that they're experiencing right now with him out. So it just sucks to see him having to stand out there on the sidelines. But thankfully, Hollywood Brown stepped up, 10 catches, 99 yards in week 1. Veteran, that's why you brought him back. Juju Smith-Schuster, he's stepping up, another veteran. But again, if those are the guys you got to lean on, nothing against them, but that just shows you that your wide receiver room is stretched thin. Yes, I get it, the vague updates. I know why. But thankfully, we at least know that surgery has been ruled out and there's probably no IR stay, for Worthy. But again, that doesn't mean that us fans, us reporters aren't left hanging, scratching our heads, and just wondering what's going on within the organization. And I just feel bad for Royals. It really does suck that he's missing an opportunity right now to just get some targets, work with Mahomes. But because of this, and this is part of football, and these injuries do happen, you always got to be on the lookout for maybe someone that can come in, even if it's just for a few weeks. And that's what the Chiefs could do right here. Now, let's have some fun. Stay with me here on this name, and let's just dive into the bargain bin for a wide receiver fix because we only have to wait until week 7. And we could have Xavier Worthy back in 3 to 4 weeks. The Chiefs need a stopgap. And if you don't want to roll with the younger gun of Hal Presley, who they did bring yesterday, then you could maybe be looking at, with me, Odell Beckham Jr. His name has been popping up. Yes, he's coming off a dud in Miami. But this staff has a knack for squeezing out whatever juice is left in these veteran players, especially in clutch moments. It seems like they could go and be quiet all season, but when they need to step up or make one play, they do. And one example of that would just be Juju Smith-Schuster, who's on the team right now. He was written off with that knee issue, but he has become a reliable piece for Andy Reid and Mahomes. He has to become a reliable piece, and he's doing that. Of course, Beckham's not the superstar that he was with the Giants, especially at 32, but he's still hungry. He still said he wants to play in 2025, and it's a low-cost gamble. His peak, electric. He's shown flashes with elite quarterbacks even lately. Look at Matthew Stafford. Look at Lamar Jackson. Those two quarterbacks were at least to get some juice out of him, and those weren't even more than 5 years ago. So I'm not saying OBJ is going to light up Arrowhead, but for a short stretch of, handful of weeks, he could be a savvy pickup, especially over a practice squad guy like Presley. The Chiefs don't need a blockbuster. They just need a spark until Rice is back. I know we've been talking about Tyreek, maybe some bigger names, Chris Olave, stuff like that. But really, as long as you can get Worthy and Rice back healthy and they stay healthy, you're fine. You just need something in between there. If you look at OBJ's early career, 288 receptions, 4,122 yards, 35 touchdowns in 43 games. Really hit the scene fast. I mean, that peak was fun. Let's say a little more recent, 2023 with the Ravens, 35 receptions, 565 yards, and 3 touchdowns in 14 games. 2021 with the Rams, 27 receptions, 305 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 8 regular season games. But of course, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't talk about last year with the Dolphins, 9 catches, 55 yards, 0 touchdowns in 9 games. So he's already been playing on these shorter seasons anyways with these teams. Perfect fit for the Chiefs. Budget-friendly option, especially with the Chiefs cap space. So offering another veteran, bringing in some name recognition, that's huge too. I wouldn't mind it. I don't think it's going to move the needle. I don't think we necessarily need to bend over backwards for it, but if it's right there and he's still in shape, I mean, look at his 2023 Baltimore stint. Prove that he can still be elite with a top-tier quarterback. Mahomes could unlock something similar, at least for a few weeks. Again, we don't need him for a whole season, unlike Presley, who's unproven, who's raw. OBJ's contested catch ability, route running ability. That's going to benefit the wide receiver room. It's not going to hurt it, especially alongside Smith-Schuster and Brown. He's not a long-term fix by any means. Don't twist my words there. But he's a proven producer in big moments. The downside, his Miami flop, of course, and his injury history, which we don't need. But he has had 2 ACL tears since 2020. So, yeah, it's a risk, but it's a low gamble. But I understand if you prefer, banking on someone like Presley's youth for that more long-term upside. But to say that this isn't a, bargain that could be worth exploring to at least bridge the gap until Rice returns, you can't say that. It is. He's not the game changer he once was, but with Mahomes throwing, with Andy Reid scheming, which we haven't really seen much impressive lately, but maybe if you get those 3 heads together, it could deliver just enough pop to keep the offense afloat. Even if fans are, clamoring for younger bodies like Presley, which I also don't, let's go with it. Let's develop. But also, you can't deny that we need something short-term, just quick. All right, let's look ahead to Sunday. Let's go a little bit more defensive because I've been talking offense the past two subjects here. It's no secret that our pass rush just got absolutely stonewalled in week one against the Chargers, against an O line that was makeshift at that. It's a wake up call. It's a screaming wake up call at that. And as we head into this Super Bowl rematch with the Eagles, it could get even uglier. But going back to that week one, Justin Herbert had all day just to carve up the secondary. And now we're just staring down Jalen Hurts, who had 3.5 seconds to throw last year in the Super Bowl against us. If we can't get any interior pressure, any interior heat, especially from Chris Jones, we are in for a long Sunday. The Eagles' run game, led by Barkley, of course, but they have thrown in now Tank Bigsby. It sets up Hurts short, which he excels at, and that intermediate passing game, which he also excels at. And their O-line, it's going to be even nastier, even tougher than what we saw with the Chargers. We know Hurts crumbles under pressures. We've seen it. But our D-line's week one flop, it makes me nervous that we're not going to get any pressure on him. With the potential pass rush saver possibly slipping away too, there's going to be more on that here in a second. Spags really needs to dial up something creative. We got to collapse the pocket, or this offense from Philly is just going to run rampant once again. Omenahue, Mike Dana, Noddy, week one, combined for 68 snaps, 0% win rate. That would be beating your blocker in 2.5 seconds. Those three could not do it combined in 68 combined snaps. If you look at Herbert's week one, 73.5% completion percentage, 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 9.7 yards in attempt. That's because he had 3 seconds average to throw. He only faced pressure on 17 of his 41 dropbacks. He had all day to carve up this defense. Now, if you look at Hurts under pressure, because I said he crumbles, he drops to a 45% completion rate, 5.5% turnover-worthy play rate, and a 61 QB rating. Chris Jones needs to step up. Week one, 8% pressure rate versus his career, which is usually right above 13%, north of 13%. So Spags might need to scheme extra rushers because Jones alone cannot handle this load against Philly's offensive line. Yeah, you can argue stunts and twists could free up Omenahue, could free up Dana, but they got to win their one-on-ones, which they are not doing. 0% in the win rate. They can't beat their one-on-ones. And Hurts, when he crumbles under pressure, again, that 61 QBR rating, it's the key in this one. But the Eagles' run-heavy approach, it just opens up play action. So the Chiefs have to be smart. The front have to stay disciplined to avoid any big plays. And truly, Jones just needs to find that all-pro form. Please, man, we got to see it. 13% pressure rate. Let's get back up there. Collapse the interior. We can't let Hurts just sit back there for 3.5 seconds again, especially with a key pass rush option potentially off the table soon, which is, and leading into my next segment here, that the Dallas Cowboys, of course, NFC at least not AFC, and they're just stealing right under our nose, but the Cowboys, they're looking at Jadeveon Clowney, of course, the former number one pick to fill their void after the Micah Parsons trade. And they did host him on Wednesday, but there's no deal yet. Of course, as I'm talking about it, watch them make a deal, but this might be a missed opportunity for the Chiefs, especially if they don't act fast themselves. We just talked about our pass rush getting stonewalled, how it was a wake-up call for this unit. And with our offense, which we talked about earlier, limping through this stretch right now, the defense has to step up once again like they had the past few seasons. And Clowney's veteran experience, still playing at a high level, that not only could be the answer, it would be the answer. He doesn't play like he's 32. In his 2023 Baltimore resurgence, seemed like Baltimore had everyone. Baltimore always gives everyone a second chance, it seems like. They're still gas in the tank. The Chiefs shouldn't let Dallas snag him, especially with our D-line's abysmal showing last week that we just went over. He's been a short-term fix for teams at this point in his career, so he knows what he's getting into. He knows the situation. He knows the money he's going to get. The experience brings some noise for a pass rush that's just screaming for help. It's asking for help. What are we going to do about it? Throw in one of our rookies? Sure. But how much production are you expecting to get out of that? If you look at last season with him, 46 combined tackles, 5.5 sacks, 11 QB hits, 9 tackles for loss in 14 games, 73.2 PFF pass rush. Great. Want to go to that Ravens season in 2023? 9.5 sacks. That tied a career high. In his career overall, 58 sacks in 140 games over 11 seasons. 2016, second team All-Pro, 3 Pro Bowls. He's effective, and he's someone that you need on this roster. His 2024 tape shows that, again, he can still collapse pockets. A 1-year deal is feasible, and his veteran presence could mentor this young talent. What truly sucks, though, is that Dallas has an estimated $42 million cap space. They would easily outbid Kansas City if we were to put in a price to bring in Clowney. They see that. Of course, they really need someone after getting rid of Micah Parsons. So I think they would probably outbid us there. So Clowney's not a game changer at this point in his career, but damn, he still plays well enough for the Chiefs to pick him up. He has that proven production, fits in Spag's system. It almost labels it a must-grab for KC, but with Dallas right there now, I just don't know if it's going to happen. Well, that's all I have for you on this lovely Thursday. Hopefully, we can all catch a great game tonight. Thursday games usually aren't the best, but when you got someone like the Packers and Commanders going against each other, it should be fun. Let me know in the comments what you think about the updates on our 2 wide receivers. Would you like to see Odell Beckham Jr. in the gold and red? Or do you think he's too old? I don't know. I don't know if he has anything left in the tank, even though he says he does. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And would you like to see Clowney on this team? I think you would. But if not, let me know your reasons. Once again, I am your host, Calvin Silvers. You are listening to Cheifs Latest. Until next time, have a good one.